What two jobs are fine on their own but suspicious if you work both of them? Day trader and being a member of Congress. Oh wait. Wedding planner and divorce lawyer. I bet they'd make a fortune in Las Vegas. Of course it was an Elvis impersonator. We could never afford a real Elvis. Imagine if an Elvis impersonator was your divorce lawyer. She ain't nothing but a hound dog, Your Honor. I put it to you that you did not in fact love my client tender, nor love him true, and did not even attempt all his dreams to fulfill. A little less conversation, a little more action please. Veterinarian and taxidermist. Butcher and gravedigger. In Germany there's a law specifically forbidding this. What for? It's illegal to work both on a cemetery or in a funeral parlor and in the food industry. Wow. That is so interesting. Like a gravedigger would give the food the taint of death or something? Edit, 5 I reread this and now cannot stop laughing about the taint of death. It sounds like a Tenacious D song or something. I assume it's because dead bodies have a lot of germs and other nasty contaminants that you wouldn't want to get into food. Similar to how you can't store cooked and raw food together because of cross-contamination. Except the cooked is the food product and the raw is the gravedigger. But if I am a gravedigger at a cemetery, I am not touching bodies. So you say. Smile. Casino manager, debt consolidation. Vertical integration. Synergistic partnerships. Work for a liposuction clinic by day, sell homemade soap by night. We were selling their own fat asses back to them. Narration, those were good times, Ol' Harry would suck em out, Lil Jimmy would stuff em, Fat Tony would carve em, then there was me, the salesman, on the surface I was selling em luxury soap, dumb bastards never even realized, we were selling their own fat asses back to them, it was the hottest scam in town, ha, dumb rich people soap fellas, 1990. I think you mean the Sopranos. Those soap operas are all the same. Paramedic and mortician. My old partner on the ambulance's family owned a funeral parlor. We used to joke that we're not getting a cardiac arrest back when Kyle starts handing out business cards. There was a case in Poland some 20 years ago when an ambulance team worked in cahoots with a funeral hall. They would inject Povolon, muscle relaxant, into victims in bad shape, and then they would advertise specific funeral halls. Grim stuff. n.wikipedia.org Wiki Skin Hunters. A guy wakes up in an ambulance. Where are you taking me? To a funeral house, but I'm not dead yet. Well, we're not there yet. Technically also a nice metaphor for life. Proctologist and ventriloquist. Don't threaten me with a good time. Spider-Man and someone who makes their living selling pictures of Spider-Man. Antique jewelry dealer and funeral director. Actually one of the most probable answers. Wouldn't be surprised if this cropped up in a murder mystery TV show sometime. Plastic surgeon and psychiatrist. You seem to be very self-conscious about your appearance. I know just the procedure that can get you your confidence back. Do you think your father abandoned you because of your huge nose? Or was it because you're fat? Reminds me of the real-life business owners that had two businesses. Funeral home and cadaver sales. Reuters.com. Reduce, reuse, recycle. I once knew a guy who worked in a porn store, 90s small-town dirty-ass porn store, at night, and drove an ice cream truck by day. Same customer sometimes. That dude sold drugs and used his jobs as cover. You jest, but people did this in Glasgow and there were ice cream truck turf wars. People died. MFS going twisted metal on each other. Scotland is one of those places I absolutely believe would see that kind of thing. Of course, I can't really talk. A buddy of mine purchased an old mom and pop 1950s ice cream shop after the previous owners got shut down for not paying their utilities. He hired me on because we were both veterans and he knew my work ethic. Almost as soon as we opened, crackheads would start showing up right around closing, 10:30 p.m., and ask if we were still selling free water and wanting assurances that we were still open 24 hours. Again, this was an ice cream shop. We were only open after dark at all because we were trying to add it in a diner grill option. So yeah, long story short, the old owners were selling cocaine by the back dumpster after dark. When the dealers found out we were straight, Bentleys and Mercedes started parking for hours per day in the empty lot next door. We were very quickly the most armed set of ice cream slingers you ever met. Edit, this was Central Indiana. Central Indiana, yup. All of that checks out. A chemistry teacher and a car wash owner. Edit, thanks for all the awards. You know that somewhere out there Teresa, a real chemistry teacher who owns a car wash, slamming his keyboard screaming it's legitimate bitches. Duck you. And your eyebrows. Head of the FDA and a board member of a pharmaceutical or food company. Was thing a real thing at one point? Not sure about at the same time, but the previous one is literally the CMO of the firm behind Moderna. Link, the one before him is on the board at Pfizer. Link, the one before him is the head of medical strategy for Google. Link. Dentist and candy seller. This is an episode of Parks and Rec. Jeremy Jam trying to stop the city from putting fluoride in the water. He moved to Pawnee because of Sweetum's lull. How is this a child-sized soda? Well, it's roughly the size of a 2-year-old child. If the child were liquefied. It's a real bargain at $1.59. Barber and meat pie shop owner. Coroner and sausage maker. Worst pies in London? Times is hard. Police constable and court judge. Illegal in the UK, and probably in many other places. It's a cornerstone of liberal democracy, aka separation of powers. Doctor and funeral parlor owner. My mom used to work with a cardiologist who combined finances with his 2 brothers to open a few businesses. One brother opened a popular southern wing joint, and the other brother opened a funeral parlor. It was a running joke that each customer from the restaurant would end up seeing the cardiologist doctor one day due to poor diet and then eventually end up at the funeral parlor. This is called vertical integration. They should look into adding a fitness and health center. Find the MBA. Bartender and substance abuse counselor. A friend of mine held both at the same time. Best kind of bartender because they know how to deal with drunk people without starting a row. If they are good people, can advise the bar customer on handling the booze. A priest and a sex worker. No kidding. If you ever went into a bar, everyone would think it was a joke. Is it possible to convert from Catholicism to Judaism, or vice versa, and become a member of the clergy in both, so that you could be both a priest and a rabbi? Jerry, I wanted to talk to you about Dr. Watley. I have a suspicion that he's converted to Judaism purely for the jokes. Priest, and this offends you as a Jewish person? Jerry, no, it offends me as a comedian. Sperm bank organizer and mayonnaise mixer. I just flew in from both of my jobs, and boy, is my arm tired. Blood splatter analyst and employee at fishing supply store. The owner of a hospital near me got his wife in charge of the city's parking spaces. Needless to say, parking at that hospital is no problem, but anywhere else is hell. If you want parking to be good anywhere, it's the hospital. Therapist and analyst. And Blue Man Group understudy. Pilot and YouTube prankster. 10 crazy things that airline passengers do when they think they're going to die. Number 7 will shock you. Ventriloquist and psychiatrist. I feel like Therese reasonable overlap. I feel like a psychiatrist might use puppets, so why not go pro? My grandpa and dad used to be their rural cities ambulance drivers as well as the mortician service until it was ruled a conflict of interest. The original ambulance companies in my area were hearses run out of funeral homes. Granted, that was over 100 years ago. That was very common in America in the 19th and early 20th centuries. It sounds bad, but basically the hearses were the proper shape to transport someone lying down and was convenient if they died on the way to the hospital.